Hey everybody, this is Joel. I'm down at Boom Comics in Topeka. We got a rainy Saturday night going on out there, but we got a pretty cool card tournament going on in here. I've kind of tucked myself away in a corner where hopefully I can be heard over the games that are going on around me. And I'm here to talk about Tracy Vincent and the role of Tracy Vincent in the Dryden experiment. So we've got a new element, and we've got some new flavors coming with her, and I'm here to talk about them. Hopefully, this is a placeholder video. I'd like to get Tracy to record a video talking about what she wants to do specifically, but I'm going to sort of do the placeholder video right here. So just to give a little bit of background for folks that maybe are not as familiar with Dryden, Dryden is a Creative Commons universe. We're a science fiction universe, and what we've done is we've taken the work of, I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 authors and artists and put them together in a single environment. We have a single universe with a single history. It's a big history. It's got 4 different eras. It's got a lot of different types of science fiction covered, a lot of different kinds of art covered in it. But we've taken the whole thing and we've put it together as a single sort of universe for developing in. We've got art in it. We don't have any music in it yet. We've got a lot of stories in it. We've got some game development going on in it through Owlman Press. And we've put all of this under the Creative Commons 4.0 BYSA license. And what that means is that anything that you create in the universe, you own it. You're free to publish it. You're free to develop it. You're free to make money on it. That's all awesome. But you agreed to share any of the elements that you create and that you develop with everybody else who's developing in the universe. This gives us 2 advantages. The first one is that we have a much bigger, cooler universe to work in than that any one of us could ever design. I've always wanted just one of those really vast universes on the scale of Star Trek or Star Wars, but I'm at the maximum that I can create per day. I'm never going to get there. And by working in this shared environment, we now have all these fantastic elements to work with. We've got a really dynamic universe with interesting alien species and governments and corporations that war with each other and all sorts of exciting things going on. I never know what this next mission is going to look like. Dan Hunt has this whole series of Geist Marines that he's developed that work for one of the corporations. They're just awesome. I would never have developed that, but it's fabulous that I'm working in the universe that they're in now. So it's really awesome in terms of the creative fusion that goes on. It's really fabulous. Okay. And then the other advantage that it gives us is that as an indie author and somebody who wants to stay an indie author, I have a terrible time getting attention from the market. There are 14 million books or 13 million books, I think, on Amazon right now, and my book is almost totally unnoticeable when it hits the market. It's just such a vast market. But rather than give up my rights and my ownership of my material to a larger corporation that could just pay for market insertion, I'm working with all of the other authors and artists in the Dryden experiment, and we all share the publicity. We all share the attention getting. We all Twitter each other. We all Facebook each other. We share and grow. And so we have a much larger market presence than any one of us could ever have on their own. We even have shared logos that you can put on the materials that you develop in our universe so that it can be immediately identified as something in our universe. It's a really awesome way to grow your market reach without having to give up control of your material. And that's all going gangbusters. In fact, there's a movement underway now to start a not-for-profit to manage the Dryden experiment universe and answer questions and keep it independent so that nobody can own it because it's under the protection of this not-for-profit. Expect me to chat about that a lot more in videos coming. But on the side of that, I do self-publish and I do occasionally publish other authors. And we've had a big change in what's going on there in my corner of the universe. And this video is a recruitment video for you authors and artists out there who are maybe into some romance or some erotica, some chick lit, and science fiction. and that's what I'm here to talk about. So just to give you a 1-minute introduction of my company, when I buy rights, I buy print and EPUB rights. I print to Kindle, and I print and make a paper version of the book that I'm interested in, that I'm promoting. And I do a very simple market insertion. I do a no advance contract, and I do a print on demand publishing, so that I get into the market at a very low level, a very easy level. But then the trade-off is that as the attention starts to grow, and we start to have sales of the book, my revenue share is absolutely extraordinary. It's a very high revenue share. I pay 50% of the net profits back to whoever's involved. If it's an artist or an author, or an artist and an author, 50% of the revenue share goes back to them. It's a fabulous split. Once we get around to having sales, because the insertion happens at a very low level. And what's happened is I've gotten interested in doing some very specific development, and I found somebody that is also interested in doing that development, and I'm looking for artists and authors to begin to work with. And to understand what I'm talking about is I have discovered that there is this wonderful niche market that is not what would classically be considered science fiction. Things that run all the way from the Hunger Games all the way up to just X-rated, super hot, sexy stuff. But with this empowering to women slant, I'm very interested in challenging gender roles. I'm very interested in LBGT. I'm very interested in racial diversity and equality. And I've discovered this wonderful class of writing that I'm almost unqualified to promote because I'm a man. I've found these fabulous stories. Some of them very racy, some of them not at all racy, but that are sort of women doing it for themselves, women saying things that they want, women driving the stories. One of my great complaints is that science fiction is the story of the white guy versus the universe. You've heard my spiel if you've watched the other videos about the men in the Skywalker family battling it out for control of the universe in spite of all of the perfectly qualified other races. And part of that is a little bit kind of sexist. We've got these sort of women in tights characters that don't really have any power in the stories. They're not the central characters of the stories. They're not empowering the stories. And I really would like to see in the Dryden universe a movement to tell some stories by women about women, anywhere from sort of straight through just pornographic, but under their control, driven by strong female characters, driven by female authors. Not that I would be opposed to male authors. We love male authors. We have fabulous male authors, but I've gotten very interested in this liberated. I don't even know if liberated is the right word. Just I am my own person and I can do what the fuck I want. Sort of attitude in some of the writing by women that I've seen lately, and I love it. So I started talking to Tracy Vincent, who runs the Textual Love blog, and I discovered that Tracy is really, in a lot of ways, kind of doing the same thing. She does book reviews, and she writes really good, insightful reviews. She really understands the stories that she reads, and she understands what makes them work. But at the same time, some of the things that she chooses to read just shock me. I mean, I'm just like, whoa, that was white hot or red hot or whatever you want to call it. And Tracy herself has this kind of no-nonsense, I am who I am because I want to be kind of attitude, and definitely understands women's writing and women's literature. In a really sort of fundamental kind of way. I've read some of her writing and have been really impressed with it too. And when Tracy and I started talking about the Dryden experiment, we also started talking about sci-fi romance and sci-fi erotica and some of the really great things that we've read. And I want to open the door specifically to some of the works by women that I've read. Again, there's plenty of things being published by men in this Dryden experiment. I'm not making an exclusionary statement at all. I'm making an inclusionary statement. I love these empowered women's stories that I'm reading. But I didn't really want to edit them. I think that Tracy, who understands them and writes them herself and understands the challenges, should edit them. So I told her that I wanted her to have her own corner of the Dryden experiment. And she's come to work on my little side corner. She is her own editor. She is making her own selections about what stories she would like to receive and publish, and I do think that she will eventually replace this video with a video by her about it. But we have two subgenres, and I want to invite submissions. I want to invite authors to start conversations with us. I want to publish Dryden Rose and Dryden Scarlet. Both of them in the Dryden universe, both of them using the Creative Commons model. But with Dryden Rose, anything from chick lit, strong female characters, female lead characters, LBGT characters, which I would pick up anywhere else as well. That's certainly not limited to this experiment. LBGT characters are welcome in the Dryden experiment, but only up to warm, right? Young adult romance, straight sci-fi, things like that, but looking specifically at women's power. And then Dryden Scarlet, I'm looking for stories that start at moist and go dirtier from there. If you need to use the word moist in your story, you're probably headed over towards the Scarlet side. And this is not about me. This is not for me. This is something that I'm interested in, and Tracy is interested in, and so we've put her in a place to grow the science fiction romance woman empowered thing. If you write in the genre, if you don't write in the genre but would like to, if you're interested in adapting things that you've written to the universe in order to work with Tracy, please drop us a line at Dryden Experiment. That's DrydenExperiment at yahoo.com. And we'll get a conversation started between you and Tracy and see what really kind of awesome things we can accomplish together. I encourage you also to check out the other videos here to learn about the Dryden universe in general, and stop by the Dryden author and artist page on Facebook. We've got the notes section there, has a whole bunch of things to help get you oriented in Dryden. All right, there's really fabulous writing out there. I'm interested in it. Tracy's interested in it, and I really think that we can make some beautiful and empowered things happen. Let's do something a little different. All right, I'm Joel. This is Boom Comics. Thanks for stopping by.